Hello, and welcome to the conversation. Michelle Obama just admitted to something that Black people have known about for decades. My question is, what took her so long to admit it? Let's get into it. Former First Lady Michelle Obama just admitted that she admitted during a podcast interview what a lot of Black people already know, and that's that students at Ivy League universities are no smarter than students at other colleges, including historically Black colleges and universities, or HBCUs. I don't know if you saw the interview, but let's just look at a snippet of it right now and let me know what you think about it.
So underestimated so early. You start, we talked about the messages that you start telling yourself. I didn't have that because when we were young, my mentors, my teachers, the coaches, my dance teachers, they were all people who, if I made a mistake or if they doubted me, it was because, not because of my race, it was because I disappointed somebody in some other way. Get all this stuff, and now I'm trying to tell other kids that it's like I'm coming down from the mountaintop with the tablet of truth and going, do not let these people scam you. This is all a racket.
What's the scam?
That you don't belong, that they're smarter, that they work harder, that they know more, that they deserve this more than you do. That's not, it's just not true.
Okay, so there you have it. Michelle Obama is admitting that Ivy League universities have this, they're good at selling the dream that they're better. Obama, a Princeton University graduate, she said even though that she was admitted to Princeton based on her academic achievement, the biggest challenge for her was doing her matriculation was overcoming the perception from students and faculty that she wasn't good enough to be there. And that was partly because she didn't test well on the standardized tests that they give us, whether that's the GRE, I think it is GRE exam, SAT. It just depends on what what part of your curriculum that you're trying to get into. But essentially, she didn't test well, and so she felt some kind of way, and others made her feel some kind of way about that. Most standardized tests, though, in case you don't know, are based on cultural norms. So depending on who you are and where you grew up, you might not test high on a standardized test. Now she's coming from suburban Chicago and going to Princeton, and I doubt the people who made up the test that she took were from suburban Chicago or wherever she was in Chicago. So their answers to a question are going to be different from her answers to a question and how she might handle things. That's just what a standardized test is. So if you don't think like they think, even though you survived the issue or you got to the answer, you might not test as well. The former first lady also, she received her law degree from Harvard University. She said it wasn't until after she made straight A's as an undergrad at Princeton the first semester that she realized she was smart enough to be anywhere in any room with anybody, and that many of the white students who were at these predominantly white universities, these Ivy League universities, they were there because they were either athletes or legacy kids, which means their parents graduated from the university or their parents worked at the university. And had it not been for those factors, those students probably would not have been accepted to the university. So, a significant amount of the undergraduate population at Princeton and other Ivy League schools were then and now academic underachievers. Surprise, surprise. Not really. So we took a look at the interview, and I'll put the link in the chat. And if you want to look, get more information or look at the whole thing, that was just a few minutes or a few seconds out of like an hour long interview where she started out talking about the current state of politics. And then they led down, the line to what she was talking about, the Ivy League scam. So here's my take on it. If you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first to know. So here's my take on it. Most white people are good at selling a dream of their ice is colder, their sugar is sweeter, their education is better. Then they get you jumping through hoops to be accepted by them, and they get you going into debt just to be around them and afford the tuition and buying all the Ivy League paraphernalia so you can look the part. And then after you've done all that, then they turn around and treat you like an outsider. You might have heard about what was her name? Nicole Hannah Jones. She is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, and she authored the project of the 1619 Project. She graduated from Notre Dame, I think, and then University of North Carolina. So she went to North Carolina, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, trying to get hired by them. And they ended up not hiring her. And I'm not even sure what their official reason was, but she got her degree from your university. Why is she not good enough for you to hire her? They treated her like Miss Ann treated Kizzy. Remember in Roots when Kizzy came up on Miss Ann and that coach? In case you don't remember, you're not old enough to remember this. This reminded me of that incident. I'm going to show you this scene that happened between Kizzy and Miss Ann. This is how University of North Carolina treated Nicole Hannah Jones when she came back looking for a job as a professor at the university. They were looking at her like, what now? Say, what now? Check this out, y'all. I don't know if you remember this in Roots, but yeah, this is what happened.
Yes. Begging your lady's pardon, but is your name Missy Ann Reynolds? Missy. Nobody's called me Missy for over 1,000 years. But my maiden name was Reynolds, yes. I'm Kizzy. I'm sorry, but I don't recollect knowing any darky by the name of Kizzy. Another cup.
Now she know good and well she remember Kizzy, okay? That's why she about to get spit in her water, okay? Because it's a going back, and I just showed you that as a illustration. I'm gonna show you one more. Um, we are friends with them. You work with them, you raise their kids, you cook for them, you clean for them. And then when it comes time for them to acknowledge you in a way outside of you being subservient to them, they don't want to do it. Okay. And so that goes back to what First Lady is saying. And that goes back to what happened with Nicole Hannah Jones when she tried to go back and get a job at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Now, I'm not sure what took Forever First Lady so long to speak on this. So, especially since she said she realized it 30 years ago. But for some Black people, it's important for them to hear a message like this from a Michelle Obama, because no matter how many times you or I say it, or they hear it from someone that they're familiar with, they only seem to hear it, and it only speaks to them when somebody of the caliber of a former first lady, of a Michelle Obama, says it, that Ivy League universities are really not that big of a deal. The people who are there are really no smarter than us. They just got you running and doing and jumping and feeling all kind of ways about yourself, and really you are the show. So I'm gonna show you one last thing, because one thing makes me think of another. Remember in The Help, when I forgot the name of the maid, but she ended up making that pie and having her to eat the pie. Let's look at that. That was one of my favorite, and probably yours too. One of my favorite parts of the book.
Eat my shit. What'd you say? I said, eat my shit.
And she's so dumb. She don't even know why she telling her that.
Have you lost your mind?
That was I'm probably gonna get blocked for cursing. I think, I don't know, but I see people's videos and they curse all the time. Anyway, it makes you want to do stuff like that. It makes you want to spit in people's water and make a pie with boo boo in it and make them eat it. But yeah. So I just wanted to show y'all that, because that one video of The Help reminded me of Roots and reminded me of what Michelle Obama was saying. Now it's sad that we have to hear someone of Michelle Obama's caliber to confirm what we've been knowing for decades and what we've been saying for more beyond that, because of the situation that we're in. We don't have time to waste trying to convince people of what our reality is, what our truth is. Sometimes you just got to go with people who already are there and already are willing to do the work and already willing to jump in and do what needs to be done. But I'm glad that she did come around. I suspect that she came around because she's at a point in her life where she doesn't feel like, speaking of former First Lady Obama, she doesn't feel like she has to put on for people. You know how sometimes you just based on where you are in your life, she has been an attorney. She was, wife to Barack Obama, and having to, there's certain protocol that you have to do in order to be in that position, in order for him to get ahead. So you just go along to get along at some point. And so I think she's past all that, and she is just realizing, you know what, I'm tired of playing games. I'm not going to nobody's funeral I don't want to go to. I'm not going to no inaugurations I don't want to go to. I'm not talking nice to nobody. I'm not smiling in nobody's face if I don't want to. And so I think that's where she is. And along those lines, if you ask her certain questions, she's just going to give you the real. So that was a real conversation that she had during that interview. I've said time and again that many Black students at predominantly white universities, they might be made to feel as if they don't belong. But the bottom line is, if you weren't bringing in the money, if those students weren't bringing in the money to the university, whether they're athletes or standout athletes, whether they're academics and they're getting the money for scholarships and they're getting the grants that are being given to these universities because they have certain people that qualify for those things, then of course they want you to come, because they're always going to get extra money for you being there, for you having a certain head count. That's just how federal funds work. And that leads me to one more thing, and I'm gonna let you go. why is it that predominantly that these private universities like Harvard University or Princeton or Cornell, all these private universities are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal funds and HBCUs that are supposed to be funded by federal and state money because they're land grant universities are not getting the money that they are supposed to get. So you mean to tell me they find in all kind of ways why they don't give the HBCUs the money that they're supposed to get, and we find out that these Ivy League universities are getting tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal grants? It just makes no sense. It's just all turned around. It's just like, what are we doing? And so, if Donald Trump being in office has done nothing else for me, it's let me know that the system is just so turned around that it's not, I mean, it's like a house of cards. Like if one fool can make all this stuff fall, can challenge this system and nobody can do anything about it, was it even a system worth following to begin with? So that's all I got for you. To find out more about the things that I care about, you can go to the written version of my journal. It's at eurweb.com. Thank you so much and have a super day.